Ah, yes. The tier list.
Let's offend some people.
Okay, for context, before we begin, I just want to say this is my opinion, and if you're generally gonna get offended by a locomotive and multiple unit train list, then I suggest you leave right now. Okay, so for starters, New Jersey Transit is, if you don't know, the statewide transit corporation of New Jersey that transports millions all around the state with a variety of different equipment. And today I'm gonna rank every single locomotive that they either have or had. Now I may have left some out, so forgive me. We have a list ranking them from S to F, F being the worst and S being the best, as you know. So let's start off with the GP40. The GP40, the regular GP40, like the GP40-2, the non-passenger mandated variants. These are like pretty good. They're serving in Hoboken Yard currently, and they do some equipment moves and just like shuffle the cars around. They kind of replace the SW1500s in a way. So you know what? It's good. It's a solid B tier. Moving on to the E60.
These are pretty good.
Okay, so for context, the E60 was Amtrak's basically long distance regional train carrier. It would basically haul like heavier trains than the AM7s, and it would do like basically longer distance. I already said that 3 times. Forgive me. But anyway, the E60 was handed down to New Jersey Transit for a few years before they retired them, and I think one is currently preserved. These were really good. They had awesome horns. The problem I have with them is that they didn't really do push-pull service, I don't think. So that's like maybe a point off. So maybe it'll still go in S tier regardless. Oh no. The PL42AC. I
Do not like these units at all.
Okay. It's gonna be very hard to say this, but I absolutely despise these units. They're kind of good because they use an EMD prime mover. They currently use the EMD 710 FDL 12-cylinder engine, but it really isn't good. Outside of the prime mover, they're really troublesome. Like, they tend to break down a lot, so they're not all terrible, so I guess they'll go in D tier. Alright, the GP40PH-2B. This is my all-time favorite locomotive. I absolutely love these units. They've been running since the late 60s and are still proudly serving to this day. They have awesome horns. I just love the sound of its prime mover at notch 8. One of the best sounds any rail fan would ever hear. Oh my god, I love these units. It's a solid S tier, easily. Okay. Now moving on to the P42DC. Not P42DC, the P40DC, or P40BH as the technicians would call it. These would be used frequently on the failed one-stop express Atlantic City train, nicknamed the Aces for Atlantic City Express service. These were really good at its job, but unfortunately they were hand-me-downs from Amtrak, so they decided to like give it back after I think the Alp series replaced it. Yeah, they were really good at their job, but it sucks they wouldn't last longer. So these also had really good horns, but anyway, these were primarily seen on the Aces train and the Raritan Valley line, and occasionally the North Jersey coastline. But anyway, excuse me, it gets a solid A tier. Okay. This is a strange one. Moving on to the GP40 FH-2. Now, okay, I know some are still serving on the diesel divisions, but those are currently owned by Metro North and normally serve the jointed rail operations between Hoboken, Suffern, and Port Jervis and all that, and are occasionally seen on like electric territories like the M&E and the Montclair Buden. But these looked really, really awkward. A lot of people made fun of these for their awkward looking bodies, and like full width cowl body GP40 locomotives just never made sense to me. But I'm glad they're still running because they were also built in the late 60s and were first used on the Metro North. But aside of all that, it's all right. It's all right. It's a pretty good locomotive. It gets a B tier. Okay, moving on to the next locomotive, the F40PH-2 CAT, or 2CAT for those who can't spell. I think the 2 CAT was the variant specifically made for the company, for the transit company, but I could definitely be wrong. When I first saw these units, I thought they were formerly Amtrak units that were built in like the early 70s because you know, the F40PH was widely served on Amtrak for years, but these were actually built in I think 1981, and outside from all the technical stuff, these were actually really good locomotives, and two are still proudly serving to this day, number 4119 and 4120, and they proudly double-headed the 40th anniversary excursion from
It went all over the place. I don't remember the full name.
But anyway, these are very good locomotives, really good, solid S tier. Forgive me that I put the PL42 twice, so it goes there. This is a real one. This is a really weird one. I don't even know how to say its name because it's so weird. It's called the MPI MP20B-3. I know it's a strange name, but I think they're basically just rebuilt like GP40s. Like the regular GP40-2 is just rebuilt into a weirder AI looking form because I don't even know if these like exist anymore. They were built in 2008 and I think they only serve on the Newark division. These little boogers are like weird. I never once saw these and I always thought they looked weird. They have really unique horns. I think they're the only locomotives that have 3 chime horns. Because if I'm not mistaken, they have either K3LAs or K3Ls. I could be wrong though. But these are really weird. But nonetheless, they're all right. They're pretty good. So they get a C tier because I don't know too much about them yet. Now I did say I don't think I said this, but I would love to go over like the rolling stock, like only the cab cars and like the stuff like that. I'm only gonna go over the ones that are currently still on the roster. Starting with the multi-level, these are really good. They provide a very quiet and smooth ride because they have the aerodynamics of a brick, and therefore they're a lot heavier, which means that they make a lot less noise. Nonetheless, I like riding the multi-levels, primarily the lower level for some reason. I just have a strange addiction to it. I don't really ride the top lever often unless I'm in the mood for a scene. Nonetheless, these are really good cab cars. These have really solid horns too. So yeah, A tier. The Alp 45A. Oh boy. These are basically the this is the Alp 45A or DP. I have no idea. I keep confusing them all. But nonetheless, the Alp 45 is okay, but it sometimes can cause a lot of trouble because the diesel variants break down a lot, and the prime movers don't really sound all that good most of the time. But they're pretty good. They were only built like recently. Um, the I think the first one, number 4536, started serving 2 weeks, like 2 years ago, back in like 2021, I believe. I think I caught its first train, like leave Hoboken. It was a doubleheader. Um, but anyway, these are like locomotives like just barely escaping trouble. So I guess they'll go in C tier. Now I don't know much about that one GP7 that used to do maintenance of way trains. I have no clue about it, but due to me having little to no knowledge about it, it's gonna go in C tier for now. Okay, those two SW1500 switchers, also called the Yard Pups, nicknamed by me because I can. These little guys worked. I think these only worked for the Hoboken Yard and shuffled cars around and didn't really do much outside of that. I mean, they did pull like extremely rare maintenance of way trains, like ballast trains and stuff like that. So they were like just essentially work locomotives. They didn't pull any revenue trains or stuff like that because they were built for the yard. So it sucks that 501 was returned, but like I think 502 is still on the roster, but I think it's unfortunately just rotting away somewhere on the Montclair Booten line. I have no idea though. I just hope that I could just like imagine it running again, like in very clean condition. I think these were ex Pittsburgh and Lake Erie, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, these are pretty good locomotives, but I don't really know much about their future. So again, it's going in C. Okay, for this next one, they actually were not officially owned by New Jersey Transit, but they survived enough into the actual formation of New Jersey Transit because they got bought by NJT just before New Jersey Transit formed in like 1979. So these little guys, well, these big guys even, are I think Northeast's most successful 20th century electric multiple unit, with it serving over 50 years on the same set of tracks. Now what I'm talking about is the Lackawanna multiple unit. It served from 1930 all the way until 1984 when the last train left Hoboken on its last journey to Dover via the Morrison Essex. So these guys basically ran electric trains all around the Hoboken division's electric lines, while I think MP54s from PRR mainly took care of the Newark division's electric services. So yeah, these were exemplary examples of electric multiple units, and are proudly gonna stop right there in S tier. And yeah, I absolutely love these locomotives. They were, well, not really locomotives because they're multiple units, but anyway, you know what I'm saying. These were awesome multiple units. Anyway, moving on. The Comet 5 cab car is, well, the Comet 5 cars in general are generally good cars, but like I just have like that one problem with them. That one issue I have with them. They're always like loud and crackety. They're like always loud, and plus 90% of the time their horns are extremely fouled, or they just don't really sound very good. So I mean, I'm not saying I don't like them. I just have a few issues with them. They could be a lot better, but like nonetheless, they do really haul ass on pretty much every service they're assigned. So you know what? They'll go in B tier for now. I like these, but they could use some work. Okay, now the Swedish meatball known as the ABB Alp 44. I sometimes call these the toasters from Wish because they were very similar to the AM7s, and they basically served the same role, providing regional commuter service to nearby suburban towns, from nearby big cities, and basically, yeah, it did that. These locomotives were pretty good, although they did recently. I think the last one retired in like 2018 from SEPTA. I'm not saying these are bad locomotives because these are definitely good at what they did. They were primarily seen on the Aces train, usually running with the P42, the P40 BHs. But outside the Aces, they also provided commuter service across all electric lines. So that's including the Northeast Corridor, the North Jersey Coastline, the Morrison Essex, and the Montclair Boudin line occasionally. And so basically these were really good locomotives. I never got the chance to ride one because they were all retired off of New Jersey Transit in 2011, and I think 2 were sold to SEPTA, and the last one was retired in 2018. But yeah, these are pretty solid locomotives, but I don't know much about them just yet, so they're gonna go in A tier. Okay, so this next one, the Comet 4, I only rode once, so forgive me if I missed some stuff. But these but the interiors of these look really awkward. Like, I don't like the interiors on these things. And plus, the seats are like a little more uncomfortable than I think the seats are just a little bit more uncomfortable than the Comet 5s. And it's sad to say this, but I think the Comet 4s had better horns than the the Comet 5s, and that's a little upsetting to me because I think the newer units should have like better horns. But anyway, the interiors of these look solid, but they look strange. But like, the ride was surprisingly smoother when I rode these. So I'm gonna still put them in in A tier, like just above the Comet 5, because I think the Comet 4s are like getting old by now. So yeah, moving on. Okay, the Alp 46. These were the go-to for any fast service you wanted, because these hauled at 110 miles per hour all over the system. I have several clips of them at least doing 90. So these were like the speed freaks. These were like the speed freak twins of the Alp 45s, and I absolutely love them for that. They're pretty much amazing locomotives. I love these units. They're always in the need for speed. Anyway, it goes in A tier. I just realized I forgot 3 really major locomotives that have crossed the path of New Jersey Transit's rail history. I forgot to put in the GE U34CH, the E8, and the GG1. I mean, I don't really know much about the E8, but like the U34 and the GG1 played a huge role pre New Jersey Transit. So anyway, let's continue. The F7A, I think only like 6 of them got acquired by New Jersey Transit. They were like retired. They were like retired in like the late 80s. They only served for like 5 years. I think they were like acquired in like 1983. They were built in like 1951. But like anyway, these were just like your average commuter. They were like loud. They were extremely loud. So I mean, I don't really know much info about the F7s and where they primarily served, but I'm gonna guess they normally served on the coastline. So since I don't really have much information about them, they're gonna go in C tier for now. Oh, I've waited for this one. The GE Arrow 3. I don't even need to explain myself because I did a whole engines of video on these specific units. And yeah, these are going in S tier. But if you guys don't know, these have been the primary go-to for electric service in terms of like non-locomotive multiple unit service. Because these originally replaced the Lackawanna multiple units that have been serving since the 30s, and these have been serving since like the late 80s, and they're still serving to this day at nearly 40 years of age, still going strong. I love these units, love them, and they have solid horns too. All right, moving on. Okay, here's when I become extremely disappointed. Why do they have to make the diesel variant of the Alp 45 so terrible? I mean, sure, they don't really suffer much issues while they're running, but like every time they're not running, they find ways to break down more than once. So, speaking of the locomotive in this image, Heritage Unit number 4519, has been in the maintenance complex for months, just because like I don't even know what happened to it, but like every single part of it got fucked up. Like I don't even know what happened to it, but like anyway, these sucked. These I mean they're all right. They're all right in commuter service, but like these actually suck. I think this is our first F tier. I'm sorry, but I'm not saying I don't like these, but like these like really need some work. Like these really need to like get like an overhaul or something. All right. Anyway, moving on to the crown jewel of diesel operations pre-New Jersey Transit, the GE U34CH. Now these jewels carry commuter operations mainly on the Hoboken division, and I think they were only seen on like the west part of the Hoboken division, so mainly like the Morrison Essex and the Montclair Buden and the former Montclair and Buden branches, and yeah, stuff like that. These were gorgeous locomotives. They had solid horns too. Oh man, these were loud though. These were very loud locomotives. They hauled ass too, especially on like short commuter lines. So yeah, this is S tier, my friend. Amazing locomotives. I'm just glad that 3372 finally got repainted into its original form, and I finally got to see one. Like they're actually huge up person. So anyway, moving on. Okay, the E8s. I think they originally started out as Chicago and Northwestern E8s, and I don't really know much about them from that. So it's another C tier because I know there were like a lot of them, but like I don't really know like how much time they served because I don't think the information is really available as of now. So anyway, moving on. Alright, so the final locomotive I'm going to be ranking is the GG1, and do I really need to explain myself? It's an S tier locomotive, period. Because these guys have carried electric trains as long as these guys, the Lackawanna multiple units. They were built in the early 1930s and were also retired in the late 80s. And the GG1s that operated in New Jersey were always like either ex-Penn Central or ex-Pennsylvania Railroad. But yeah, they normally like did commuter trains on like the North Jersey coastline and stuff like that. Anyway, I think these are amazing locomotives. But anyway, yeah, here's my tier list, and everyone, I will this is only a single use tier list, so I'm probably not going to make this public. If you guys agree or disagree with my placements, make sure to comment down below. Anyways, guys, this is my tier list. I hope you had fun watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye, and have a great rest of your day.